Gopāla Nāyikā, who was going to be her Diksha, initiation. I mean, it still is, but then at the last minute, really at the last minute, where's Lalita?
She had to leave early.
Huh?
She's had to leave early, dressing the duties.
She left?
She's dressing the duties tonight.
Asta. Of all people to leave. Anyway, she left, and then Abigail is here, surprising us all, surprising being also, and for first initiation. And we use this word, Diksha. It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives nice explanation. Diksha Kali Krishna Atma Samarpan. Jai Kali. Diksha Kali, at the time of Diksha, Atma Samarpan, one surrenders himself, herself fully to Krishna. So that's really Diksha. It's not necessarily just this event. In principle, this event marks the full surrender of a Vaishnava or a Vaishnavi, that they Krishna Atma Samarpan, that they surrender themselves fully to Krishna, and which is a very wonderful thing. It's what Krishna asks for at the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, Mamekam Sharanam Braja. So in there is the content of what surrender means. Surrender is, of course, a process. Just like education is a process, you go to school, but then at a certain point you become qualified. When I was going to university, so we were called engineers, and students who were in the art department, they were, arts and so on. But we weren't really engineers, we were just studying engineering, but still the name was there. And of course, you become a real engineer when you graduate. So we should learn the process of surrender, and the implication is that real initiation, it becomes a completed process when one becomes fully surrendered to Krishna. In time, either in this world or once we leave this world, all these other things that we've attained, they're gone. So all these connections are gone. Mam Ekam, and the only thing that's left is the permanent relationship with Krishna. Mam Ekam Sharanam. Now that becomes real surrender. And then of course there's the 6 symptoms of surrender. So one is accepting everything that's favorable for Krishna consciousness, rejecting anything that's unfavorable, no matter how attached I may be to it, and so on, and the other 4. So it's a process, but the process should really be progressive. We should really be moving on that path, and that's why we have these wonderful pictures here. It's I told Radha Damodar I really didn't think I fit either with the pictures or on the same level as Iha Bhagavata Svara Gaurangera Nija Vamsa. Gaurangera Nija Vamsa. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eternal family. So, yeah, I mean, it's one thing to have eternally liberated souls, and it's another thing to have a conditioned soul. They're not in the same category. The principle we respect, the principle of guru, whether a guru is on one level or another level, but still guru means Sakshat Hari, so we offer respect. And when we take first initiation, that is, Srila Prabhupada would say, it's really to encourage a devotee. It's a affirmation that this devotee has really surrendered and taken the holy name, as we were mentioning in class. And then one devotee answered that a Vaishnava is someone who chants the name of Krishna. And how he chants the name of Krishna, that's the caliber of Vaishnava someone is. And a Madhyamadikari is someone who has fully embraced the holy name. They may not be expert at chanting the holy name, but for them, they've realized that this is the means as well as the end, chanting Krishna's name, and they engage in those devotional activities which further qualifies and makes their chanting better and better and better. Krishna has appeared, Krishna Namaruti. Krishna has appeared in the form of his name. This is actually the incarnation of this age. We can't take it cheaply. The more we appreciate Krishna's holy name, the more we appreciate Krishna, and our relationship with Krishna will develop. Abhinatva nama namino. They are non-different. The name and the person, they are one and the same. And Jrikali, and at this time, when someone becomes fully surrendered, Krishna then accepts them as part of their own family. Nija Vamsa, one of one's own family member. Attaining shelter of Krishna's lotus feet is very difficult. I was going to say it's not easy, but not easy is a different thing than very difficult. Not easy doesn't say how hard it is, it just says it isn't easy. So it could be, not very, but it could be a little difficult, and that's also not easy. But it's not a little difficult, it's very difficult. And I was speaking with a devotee about this yesterday, and I've mentioned that Rupa Goswami says it's difficult for two reasons. Because first, you have to have real attachment to Krishna. Krishna asakti. So coming to the stage of Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha. Now here starts pure devotional service. Here starts real faith. Faith that doesn't waver is Nishtha. And then Ruchi. Real taste, that I can sit and I can chant Hare Krishna all day long. It doesn't, it's not changing my life in any way. I'm not getting distracted in any way. I just chant and chant, and there isn't a better thing. It's just like if, we had the ability to always be eating. In other words, if your stomach didn't get full, but there was some other tube that comes in and goes out, and but that's ruchi, that we have such a nama gana sada ruchi, that we have this taste for chanting the holy name, and it's so sweet. Madhuram madhurabhyopi mangalebhyopi mangalam pavanam pavanebhyopi harinama eva kevalam. So amongst sweet things, what is the sweetest thing? Of course, nowadays some people don't like being around sweet things because they're afraid of putting on weight, which is true. But still, Madhuram, what is amongst the sweetest things? So and sweet is not, actually the definition of sweetness in transcendence is not based on a saccharine taste. But sweetness means beauty that you cannot describe. Undescribable beauty, indescribable beauty. That's sweetness. So that's when we say Krishna's sweetness, it means like that. So we see sometimes that either somebody does something or, oh, that's so sweet. This is a different use of the word sweet. Unlimited, indescribable beauty. It's so way beyond. It's way beyond because on this planet you have very beautiful people who are materially beautiful. Bhagavatam says from the material point of view. Then you go to the heavenly planets and they're even more beautiful. I don't know if you want to open the window a little, we can just, devotees feel comfortable. And the heavenly planets is 1,000 times. And beyond the heavenly planets, you go up and up. Of course, then there's Janaloka and Tapaloka. They're not so much concerned about beauty, although the opulence continues to increase. Brahmaloka, and then beyond is the realm of, there's the Vaikuntha sky, where there's Brahmajyoti, but then you hit Vaikuntha, and it's even 1,000,000 times more beautiful, and you go to Ayodhya, and it's 1,000 times more there, and you go to Dwarka, and it's 1,000 times more, and then you go to Vrindavan, and it's, then Sanatana Goswami says it's indescribable. And at the same time, it looks very ordinary. So it's fully opulent, unlimited opulence, and yet at the same time ordinary, difficult to conceive of. So it's all really quite mind-boggling. So yes, that ruchi. And then, after one has developed such a real relish to chant, to hear, to be able to just read Srimad Bhagavatam, because this is the Rasamrita, this is the Karuna Rasha, this is the nectar for the ears, Tava Katamritam, Tapta Jivanam. And beyond that is Asakti. And Asakti means, oh, that's good. And Asakti means attachment. Devotee is situated in goodness, but goodness, not goodness where he's entangled in material life, but goodness where he's spiritually situated, not transcendentally situated, but spiritually situated, and has strong attachment to Krishna. Very, very strong attachment. Not love. Love comes later. Then you have to have this asakti. It's all coming in on me. asakti. Because that is the prerequisite for stepping into the realm of transcendence, and bhava bhakti, which is like the bud of prema. So it's also called prema. It's a rose. Whether rose is a bud or rose is open, it's still a rose. So it's prema. But it's very undefined today. When we were filming, I was looking at these buds, and they looked really raggedy to me. But then when I saw an open one, I saw that it wasn't really raggedy, but it was actually just the design of the petals was like that. So detail will only come with prema, but when bhava bhakti manifests, and sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpati, then one is risen beyond the saguna, between the modes of material nature. So you have to have that asakti. Now requires mercy. This is it's called the glass ceiling. Now here in the material world, they have TV shows and articles about different people breaking the glass ceiling. Women break the glass ceiling, blacks break the glass ceiling, Asians break the glass ceiling, everyone's breaking the glass ceiling. This glass ceiling no one breaks. You can't make any effort to get in there. There's no access, there's no breaking. It has to come from the top down. And it has to come from Krishna. It's called Krishna's mercy. So to receive Krishna's mercy, we're always receiving Krishna mercy, but this type of Krishna's mercy is that one is actually invested with the potencies of Samvit and Ladini, with the potencies of transcendental knowledge and Ladini. Ladini means the prema, means love. And it is a Suryamsu. It is like a ray. Sometimes it's called a pencil. But anyway, it's like a ray of sunlight. A ray, Rupa Goswami says, a ray of sunshine of the sun of prema. So prema is like the sun, and it has its rays, and just one ray. That's all it takes. But it requires Krishna to bestow that. And it may come directly from Krishna, it may come through Guru, it may come through the holy name, it may come any time, any place, when you least expect it. But Krishna, Rupa Goswami says, so first you have to have a sakti, and that's as far as you go in terms of sadhana bhakti. And then you have to have Krishna's mercy, but even if you have a sakti, Krishna doesn't give his mercy easily. So he really, devotees must be willing to beg for it, to cry for it. So kandi, so devotees should be able to, and when we're humble enough that we're able to just cry for that, then it's still not necessarily that he's giving, just because we're crying. But anyway, it's a good form of invocation. When Krishna is somehow or another satisfied, then it will happen. And at that state, why? Because with prema, one controls Krishna. So Krishna is not putting himself under the control of someone who is unreliable, untrustworthy, who has not necessarily proven himself, herself. And that's why ruchi, asakti, that more or less means that this person is qualified and things are filtered out. Now, this devotional service in separation. This becomes the ticket to going back to Godhead, and it's also the constant mood of service, being separated from Krishna. So when we make this commitment, first initiation, second initiation, which in the technical sense is the real initiation, sometimes Prabhupada said first initiation is real initiation, sometimes he said second initiation is real initiation. So which is the real initiation? Well, they're both the real initiation. From the point of view of Bhagavat Siddhanta, Bhagavat Vidhi, then all you need is the holy name. That's all. Harinama Eva Kevala. You don't need anything else other than chanting Hare Krishna. From the point of view of Pancha Trikibidi, and even from the Vedic Sadachar, then we should have Diksha, Mantra Diksha, that is called Nama Diksha, and this is called Mantra Diksha. This Mantra Diksha takes one to the level of liberation, but Nama gives one Krishna Prema. So it is both, therefore both are. For Mantra Diksha, the main point of it is deity worship. It allows us to worship the deity with Jiva Goswami and Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada point out that this is an absolute must for grihastas in order to protect them from getting too attached to the bodies and the members of their own family, and to keep them in touch with the reality of who's in charge and where it is that they are going. So we should, and that means temple deity, although sometimes access to Radha Gokulananda is very difficult, and devotees have Gaurnitai deities at home. They are very, very merciful and much easier to approach than Radha and Krishna. We like to worship Radha and Krishna, but that's a very elevated, high standard. Gaurnitai and we see that in Chaitanya Charitamrita Kaviraj Goswami, he just glorifies Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, especially in Adi Leela. And these are our worshipable deities, although the goal of that worship is Radha and Krishna and Vrindavan. So deity worship as much as possible, and of course chanting Hare Krishna. And same thing, first initiation, it's an entrance, but someone is now irrevocably fixed, connected, and they have great faith in the principle of Guru, and relationship between Guru and disciple is a very mystical and transcendental relationship. There's the story of Shankaracharya, and he was up north walking along the Ganga, and his servant was on the other side, and I guess in Rishikesh, at a certain point when you get down to Haridwar, the Ganga breaks up into different branches, and they're not that wide. Otherwise, if you go up to Rishikesh, then it's quite wide. But in any case, wherever it was, his servant was on the other side. So I forget what his name is, and he called him. He said, "Come over." And I mean, there was no bridges. Although Lakshman Julan was there since the time of Lord Ramachandra. But anyway, he called him over. And so his servant just walked across the river. And all the disciples were amazed. They said, how is it possible? How can he walk across the water? And Shankaracharya said, because he has so much faith in the instruction of his guru, he didn't question, well, am I going to fall into the water? He just, he just walked. Of course, Shankaracharya is, Lord Shiva, or at least empowered by Lord Shiva. So he's not an ordinary personality. But nonetheless, Shakshadhari Semastashashte. When someone is the ambassador, if you have the ambassador of a country, and whether he's a fool or he's a greatly learned politician, because he represents that country, then whatever the host country is where he's situated, they treat both of them the same way. They treat the fool and they treat the learned politician, experienced politician in the same way. Why? Because they both represent the same country. So it's the country that you're dealing with. So Sakshat Hari. And that's how Krishna sees it. Acharyam Ambhijaniyam. So this is Krishna speaking. So he says, Acharyam Ambhijaniyam. He says you have to respect the Acharya as good as myself. So this is Krishna's standard. Krishna has established this principle, and on the strength of that principle, then devotees become empowered. Walking across the Ganga is easy compared to getting Krishna Prema. So you can practice walking across, and if you get mystic cities, you can do more than that. But there's no mystic city for getting Krishna Prema. It is a very, very, very valuable thing, and ultimately that real Prema will come from Krishna's associates. They will help unfold, just like when you get a lotus, and then you have to unfold the leaves. So they're the ones who unfold the leaves, and to actually, the beauty and the aroma of that flower of prema can be there. So where there's no fire going on here, and that means that first opportunity devotees should do that. Hey, you got beads? Okay. Does everyone feel like chanting a round of Hare Krishna?
Yes.
We can chant Hare Krishna together, like we get the guests, Namhara guests, and so on to do.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. But if we approach Lord Nityananda, then by Lord Nityananda's grace, Oriko Vinitachan Karuna Hobe Shamshara Bhashana, then you immediately go beyond the material energy. And Gauranga Bulite Habi Pulakashari, Hari Hari Bulite. And if by chanting the names of Gauranga, then by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's grace, Lord Nityananda's grace, Pulaka Sharira, then your hair on your body will stand on end and there will be quivering. So one will get that mercy of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, it's very easy. Even when Lord Chaitanya is very particular, Lord Nityananda is even more merciful. So Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Surida Vishwashakori. The devotees who are intelligent, they worship Gaura Nitai. So many Radha Krishna, Jagannath, Shalagram, this, that. But the mercy is with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he is Krishna Prema Pradhanite. He's come to give. So we should go where they're giving rather than go somewhere else. Okay. Ready? 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 So it's 3 times. I had to take a vow, or at least we had our exchange in front of Radha Gopalananda. So what are the principles?
So no meat eating, eggs, fish, onion, garlic, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex.
And chanting?
At least 16 rounds a day.
16 rounds a day. Okay, your name, name of Srimati Radharani, who's very opulent. Primarily, she's very opulent with love for Krishna. And I mean, she's the goddess of fortune, so to say that the goddess of fortune is opulent is sort of an understatement. But her real wealth is her love for Krishna. And it's a very, very nice name, because it's very rhythmic. So it goes like this, I don't know, write it down later. Āḍhyā-Rādhā. Āḍhyā-Rādhā. Radha, excuse me, Āḍhyā-Rādhā. Is that okay? Sure. Āḍhyā-Rādhā. Right.
Āḍhyā-Rādhā Devī Dāsī ki.
And then here's Gopāla, and I called her a different name for a long time, but I like Gopāla too. And well, we'll go into the next room with Anuradha and Gadadhar, and then we'll give a Gayatri mantra. And then there a feast for everybody after that?
I made pastries with vanilla and Anuradha's made cupcakes.
Oh, okay, that's the feast. That's the feast. Okay, and yes, we hope that when you're down there in Alachua, that there's also Radhashama Sundar, and they have the opportunity to serve them, very beautiful deities, and learn from really qualified people to do everything that comes along with deity worship, cleanliness, rising early, and so many other things. Is your house like this?
It's one story, it's like a bungalow.
But it's nice and clean. And
I'd say so.
You have to go and check it out. Āḍhyā's on the same road and Palika's on the same road, they're all there. You could take your books.
my days of checking out, come check out my place.